Hi guys, this is Sam and welcome to EngLogic, where I help advanced English learners and teachers improve their English by analysing its mathematical and logical patterns. Today we have a pronunciation lesson, but before we carry on, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below and to follow my other pronunciation videos over here. And now, let's get started. Today we're going to study 3 sounds that are often misused and mixed up, and we'll do that with this sentence. And as a little experiment, I would like you to pause the video, record yourself saying the sentence, listen back, and then compare it to mine to see if your pronunciation matches mine. The sentence is, Tom found a bad bud in his bed. We will now analyse each sound individually. We will start from the easy ones and then we will have a long conversation on the A sound. The word bed contains the sound E. If we look at the vowel grid, which is a representation of your mouth and where in your mouth you produce vowel sounds, in this case in British English, we can see that E is a short, closed mid, front, unrounded sound. Closed mid means that your mouth is slightly more open than natural openness. Front means that the front of your tongue comes up. But careful, front doesn't refer to the very tip of your tongue, but to the blade, which is literally behind it, here. In British English, when we produce vowel sounds, the very tip of your tongue is always behind your bottom teeth. When I say that the front comes up, I'm talking about the blade over here, and we get this movement, as if your tongue were pushing against your teeth. Unrounded means that your lips are flat. Some English books and teachers tell you that when we produce the sound E, we need to spread our lips sideways into a E. But I personally disagree with that because in British English we never really spread our lips sideways. We do everything vertically. We say A, E, oo, O. So spreading your lips sideways creates a sound that is usually foreign or sometimes American. And we need to remember that this is a bright, open sound. A lot of foreign languages produce this sound as a closed I. But this is incorrect because in English it's open as if someone were pulling you up from a string. So we say E, E. The sound E is given by the letter E inside one-syllable words without a silent E at the end. Pet, step, neck. By EA, not often but in very common words. Ready, bread, measure, weather, death, and in some irregular pasts, read, meant, dealt. The letter A never gives you the sound E except for these 4 words. Any, many, et, which is a less common way of pronouncing ate, the simple past of to eat, and Thames. AI only in said and against, which can also be pronounced as against. We have one exception when we pronounce the third person singular of the verb say. We go from I say to he says. We can't say he says, but this only happens with this verb. Otherwise we say I play and he plays. Other combinations include X, not X, friend, not friend, leisure, jeopardy. And it's very interesting to see that B-U-R-Y and B-E-R-R-Y are pronounced exactly the same, berry. It's very important to notice that the sound E never appears at the end of a word. The word bud contains the sound A, which is a short, open mid, back, unrounded vowel, meaning that your mouth is fairly open, and although it's considered a back sound, meaning that the back of your tongue comes up, I actually see it as a center sound, meaning that the center of your tongue comes up ever so slightly, very close to the back though, and your lips are flat. So we pronounce it as A. A. And it's very important to understand that, just like every other language, English has a lot of different accents, and in the north of England they don't pronounce this sound as A, they pronounce it as something similar to O, so instead of saying bus, they would say bus. The sound A is mainly given by the letter U, up, under, club, judge, luggage, but there are some exceptions, one of which is the very common word put. sometimes OU. Touch, young, couple, country, not country. Enough. Unfortunately, in a lot of words, the letter O gives us the sound A, usually with th, v, but we don't really have any solid rules about this. We say other, not other, oven, love, brother, mother, cover, come, done, London, not London, company, not company, the front of your tongue, month, money, some, Monday. Double O only in the words flood and in the very much mistaken word blood. We don't say blood, blood or blood. Does, doesn't, one, once. And it's fundamental to remember that the letter A never gives you the sound A in English. I know that that's a sound that it gives in a lot of European languages, but please remember in English it doesn't exist. Some fun facts about this sound is that the word one can mean number one, but also the past of win. Careful because one doesn't exist. Although the past participle of do is done, the past participle of go is not gone because that's an object, but it is gone. Yellow is a colour, not a collar. We say wonder, wonderful, because wander is a different way of saying to walk. The words S-O-N and S-U-N are pronounced exactly the same. Sun. And now get ready for the terrible sound A in bad, which is a short, near open, front unrounded vowel, meaning that your mouth is very open, the blade of your tongue goes up, and your lips are flat. This sound is technically considered short because long sounds can appear at the end of a word but not before the sound ng, whereas A doesn't appear at the end of a word and it can appear before ng in bank, bang. But I personally think that this sound is still 1 millisecond longer than a normal short sound. I'm now going to give you my own personal tips that I use when I teach my students how to pronounce this sound, and this is my personal interpretation. If these tips work for you, great. If they don't worry, you can use any other method that you find more suitable. Pronunciation is a very technical and physical art, and if you place your tongue, your lips, your teeth in a specific position, the sound will scientifically come out. But I think that the sound A is the only one that doesn't work like that. I think we need to consciously trick our brain into producing it, and we need to consciously decide to make it happen. Because following the simple instructions of keeping your mouth open, your lips flat, and the blade of your tongue raised, I get the sound ah, 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 which sounds very similar to the sound ah in bud, but just with a more open mouth. In English, we don't have nasal vowel sounds, but I actually think that this one is nasal. In order to go from a flat ah to a ah, we need to quack the sound in the nose like a duck, quack, 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 or a buzzer, ah, ah, by bringing the sound to the front of the nose over here, not at the back, because otherwise it sounds similar to a French on sound. A mental image that you can use is to picture the sound coming from the area between your lip and your nose. Ah. You can also hold your nose to create more of a vibration there. Ah, ah, ah. So what I think we do in British English is to think of the sound ah from cup and we quack it into cap. Another mental trick that I think is useful is to analyse the difference between the sound from bed that we studied earlier and ah from bad. If we look at the vowel grid, the only technical difference between these two sounds is the openness of the mouth, because in both the flits are flat and the front of the tongue goes up. So what I suggest you try is to start from the sound from bed, and then you gradually lower your jaw while you consciously decide to quack the sound into the nose, just like that. and this is the sound that you want. The main problem the foreigners have is that they don't quack the sound in the nose, and I think a very useful exercise is to practice the sound with other nasal sounds that we have in English, mainly m and n, which are already nasal, so they help you keep the sound in the nose. The best word to start with is man, because we have nasal before and after a. Then we will gradually remove the nasal sounds, trying to keep the a in the nose on its own. And we go man, mad, Sam, cat. But don't worry, when we speak, we don't actually quack as much as I'm teaching you to. This is just a trick to convince and force your brain to produce a sound that is alien to you. But when we speak, your brain and your mouth will automatically adjust the sound to a producible and easy quackiness. I would never pronounce my name as Sam. I would just say Sam. But again, it's good practice for your brain to get used to the idea of quacking. Another problem is that some foreign languages pronounce this sound as from bed, because they think of the American version of it, which is very similar to But careful, because even in American they quack it, but they quack it differently. What I think happens is that while in British English we think of a from cup and we quack it, they think of from bed and they quack it. So we still have a difference between and air. Apart from very few exceptions, plat, plaid, only the letter A gives you a in three-letter words. Cap, cat, dad, man, in one-syllable words without a silent T at the end that elongates the sound. Back, trap, that. In English we need to be very careful, because the reason why we go from cap to cape is that cape has a silent T at the end which transforms and elongates the sound a into a. This happens often but not always, and one of the most common exceptions is have, that contains the e at the end, which is silent, but it doesn't elongate the sound, so we say have with a short quacky a. When a appears before a final st, we actually usually get r, not a. Fast, last. Other words that contain a are apple, language, fantastic, gadget, stand, flash. We're going to end our lesson with a little game. Just like in the words bed, bud, bad, the difference between these sounds is very important. This happens a lot in English because by misusing one of these sounds, I might understand something completely different or nothing at all. For example, my name contains the quacky a, Sam, but most foreigners would pronounce it as Sem, which doesn't exist with or with a, but I understand some, which is SOME or SUM. So the game that we're going to play now is to find words that, just like bed, bud and bad, keep all the same sounds except for the ones that we've studied today, and we will see if they give us a different meaning. We have bet, but, bat, cut, cat. Flesh is human meat. To flush the toilet means to push the button for the toilet, and flash is for cameras. The verb is can, not ken, because Ken is Barbie's boyfriend. Beg, bug, bag. Said, sad. Two men, one man. This happens quite often with the simple past and past participle of some irregular verbs. Run, ran, sung, sang. And I will leave you with another tongue twister. If you add butter to the batter, it tastes better. And that's it for today. I really hope I've helped to clarify the difference between these sounds, and if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel down below. And do let me know in the comments if you tried out any of the tricks that I've given you for the at sound, and if any of them worked for you. And in the meantime, I will see you next week with my next video.